All right, fellow sport fans, thanks for joining us for another episode of Half Baked Sports. We just finished up week 9 a couple of days ago. This is Wednesday, November the 5th, 6th?
I'm not good with
One
that.
of those days. We all work, so we're kind of in a different world anyway.
You know it's Wednesday.
But we're bringing you all of our takes of what's going on in the NFL right now, up to this point, and may even do a little bit of a prediction at the end of each of these division discussions. Starting off with my friend Chuck's favorite division. We are going to discuss the AFC East. I have to admit, Chuck, that was a very significant win with Baltimore. I mean, obviously, I understand we saw some turnovers and some penalties that were uncharacteristic of the New England. But what do you think? I mean, did Baltimore have this figured out, or did they just get lucky?
I mean, Baltimore has a history against New England with these type of games. Because remember when a couple of years back when Flacco was quarterback and they had Ray Lewis, they ran Ray Rice down their throats and beat them in the playoff game. So the Patriots defense always struggled against the run, a good running offense. And if you saw, if we like we saw in the game, Baltimore ran. They ran
very successfully. And I like how they mixed it up too. They got the quarterback involved. They had obviously lead blockers for him as well as other ones. They also mixed it up and threw an option in there. I saw, and obviously you have to do that with a defensive head coach like Belichick.
Well, they knew that. They knew, like, I want to say one thing about the Patriots defense. I think everybody hyped them up. I knew they weren't they're top 3, but not number 1.
They're good at lower than that, but
they're good at turnovers.
They are.
They're not good at stopping the run. They've never been good at stopping.
I think the best term I've ever heard when it comes to them is opportunistic. They know how to play situations, and they know situations better than most average players because Belichick prepares them for such. What do you guys, since we had the Patriot expert, what do you guys want to pipe in on this? I mean, what do you guys see?
Let's see. Do they have any more losses coming up? The rest of their schedule?
Well, they're
going on to their bye week, right?
Yeah.
Right. They're going to the bye week, but their schedule outside of Buffalo, maybe Miami, because Miami's always giving us problems.
You talking about within the division?
I'm just talking about period, because Kansas City's not going to beat them. Cincinnati's not going to beat them. Dallas is not going to beat them.
Houston may give them a run for
Houston may give us a run for the money.
And let's not forget Philly too. I mean, I know Philly hasn't been playing well, but it's in Philly, and anything can happen on a road game.
Only if they run. If they run, then everybody has a chance.
I believe LaShawn McCoy. Yeah, I think he's healthy, so that
LaShawn McCoy's with Kansas City.
Yeah, McCoy's with
Kansas
City.
I think you think of Ajayi. No, Ajayi is not with the Philly anymore.
Anyway, Philly I think can do it, but we better get this going on. So I mean, I took a look and I highlighted some stuff over there that I think could be potential tough outs. So I've got Philly, Dallas, Houston, and Kansas City as all being a tough out. Any one of those, given like the situation we saw in Buffalo and Baltimore game, could potentially come up with the upset. But even if they did slide those 4, as you've seen, they're going to finish out with 3 more wins easy. That guarantees them an 11-5. Anything above 11, 12, even 13, 12 or 13 is definitely going to get them a first seed, if not a second.
Right, but I just think Buffalo is not too far behind.
No, they're not. Buffalo is only a 2-game behind. But if you take a look at Buffalo's schedule,
they have Miami, Denver, Dallas, Baltimore.
But I still think that when it comes to Buffalo, Dallas could outscore them. Baltimore can outscore them. Pittsburgh on a good day could outscore them. And Pittsburgh and Dallas are at home in those are away games. So Buffalo, I think, has got a very tough uphill battle. Even though they do have 4 easy teams, like I've talked about, Cleveland, Miami, Denver, and ending the season with the Jets.
I would say this here: if Cleveland gets their act together, they might actually beat Buffalo. If they get their act together, they might actually beat Buffalo.
We're not giving them hope.
So. As far as New England goes, I'm not sure they can beat Houston or Dallas, but I know they probably will beat Philly and Kansas City. The reason I say Houston and Dallas because you run up into the same type of quarterback and the same type of offense that you ran into in Baltimore.
Yeah. And
well, Dallas doesn't have that safety. Houston, I would give the edge to, but Dallas, Dak is not that fast.
You just said that they have trouble stopping the run. Ezekiel Elliott will run
right,
over there.
and their offensive line is getting healthy.
But you gotta look at
Dak's
that.
just playing
They're
better.
depending on Dak to throw. Dak is not.
We're depending. No,
Well,
they're
they've
depending
got
on.
Witten. They've got their weapons. Look, I know you're kind of discounting them. I'm saying it's not going to be that.
Well, I'm not
easy.
discounting. I'm just
Okay,
saying
'cause it sounds like you're discounting.
with his proven record. So when teams were able to stop Ezekiel Elliott from running, Dak had to throw. They lost those games.
But you
And
just
I
said
understand.
They lost those games.
But
So
that's
if
what I was saying.
so-
You just said that they have problems stopping the run. Ezekiel Elliott is hard to stop in
Right.
the running game.
When he
So
gets
Dallas's
going, yeah.
running game is on. Their passing game is on. That's why I say I'm not going to. That's why I say
You're
if any game they're going to lose, it's going to be those two.
You're
But
correct with
anyway.
the stopping of the run. What I'm saying is this: if I stack the box and stop Zeke, just Zeke, because see with the Baltimore, we had to stop Ingram and Lamar Jackson. That's two. If you're only stopping one person, you're not scared of Dak running out the box because he's not faster than most linebackers.
But in the Baltimore game, Baltimore beat them with the pass. They didn't beat them with the run.
They did
Yeah,
beat
they
him with
did.
the run.
They beat him
They
with
beat
the
him
run.
with the run.
They
They
run
didn't throw.
attack.
They threw, but they didn't throw a lot.
No,
They ran.
Yeah, that was a very
And
strategic.
Dallas is a run team.
It was designed
For
QB
the-
runs.
for the
Baltimore is a run
Jackson.
team. Philly's a pass team. Dallas is a run team. Houston's a run team. Kansas City's a pass team. That's why I said Dallas and Houston are run teams first, pass second.
Right. That's why I said Houston got the edge because you have a dual threat with Watson and Hyde.
Yep.
Dallas only has Zeke. That's it.
Well,
Paul.
you're discounting Dak Prescott. I'm not going to do that. That's why I gave them those two games.
That's
All
fine.
right.
Let's see what happens next couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we've already can agree. New England's probably most likely going to take the division. I think Buffalo is definitely a close second. Definitely enough wins to get that wild card spot. As we've talked earlier, any team with 10 or more wins is probably going to get that. Going right into Baltimore, and that because talking about them, they're in the lead of their division, the AFC North. They're currently 6-2, and so 8 games left. And from what I can look right now, Baltimore does not have a very tough schedule. They do have Houston in week 11, which I'm looking forward to because those are two scrambling quarterbacks. It's going to come down to which defense is more prepared. And I have to say it, man. I'm going to be leaning on Baltimore for that one. But Baltimore, a tough out is going to be Rams in LA. I mean, can we agree on that? Tough out.
Yeah.
And then they host San Francisco. And this is going to be one of those San Francisco tough outs, I think. I mean, that both teams need to be prepared for each other. Then they round out the rest of the season with at Buffalo, host the New York Jets, at Cleveland, and then finish out Week 17 with Pittsburgh coming into Baltimore. I don't know about you guys, but I take a look at that, and I definitely see at least 10, 11 wins. Unless Pittsburgh wakes up and goes on a heater, I don't really see them catching up. What do you guys think?
No, I don't see Pittsburgh catching up. They might get in trouble, but I don't think they're going to catch up. As far as the Rams go, and the Houston game is probably going to be the biggest game for them coming up. And
definitely.
Depends on how that plays out. Depends on how the rest of the season plays out. I'm not trying to pass up San Francisco because Houston comes before them. Depends on which San Francisco defense shows up.
Yeah.
Because
Who stays healthy?
Yeah.
Whether they can execute.
Yeah.
I agree, and that might be the pinnacle. Obviously, they've got, I don't want to say an easy one, but we haven't really seen much from Cincinnati, and that's who Baltimore has next. Even though it's even in Cincinnati, I think Baltimore could pretty much tie an arm behind their back and still beat them.
I don't know what's going on in Cincinnati, but it's a lot of changes need to be made.
It's the only team that I see that's trying to win, but can't seem to find.
Coaching.
And that could be because it's a new head coach, right?
Yeah. And as far as the Jets and Cleveland go, like I said, Cleveland don't right their ship. They pretty much
and Pittsburgh, although close, I this is the thing I don't even know if I should even mention Pittsburgh. They're 4-4, obviously 50% going into the rest of their season here. They have a tough one coming up this week with Rams, but the rest of their schedule, I mean, at Cleveland and Cincinnati, host Cleveland and Pittsburgh, at Arizona, which That one is not an easy out. I think Arizona plays well and plays tough.
Yes.
I just think that they're having trouble finishing a game.
Yep.
Buffalo is going to be a tough out for Pittsburgh, but they finish out at Jets, and then they got Baltimore again. And
that last game is going to be interesting.
yeah,
Depending on what their records are, that last game is.
and we've seen a lot of weird upsets since week 17. So it's going to be who wants it more, especially if that if that win is dependent upon whether or not Pittsburgh makes it in or not.
And that'd be kind of funny because last year it was the same thing.
Same
The
thing.
exact same thing.
Well,
one in, one out. And I think it's going to be the same thing.
last year was a little different. Pittsburgh won their game. They needed Baltimore to lose, and this time
They're
it's
playing
the,
against
that's
each
the
other, and
game.
I think that's going to decide their futures.
And of course, Cleveland, Cincinnati. I mean, Cleveland was all, as we've learned through the last half of the season. They have the elements. They haven't found a way to pull them together. Part of that could be coaching. I've heard that argument, but I don't even think that we really need to spend a lot of time on that. Do you guys?
They are who we thought they were. That's it.
All right. So it seems like we're going through this a little quicker than anticipated. Let's go ahead and move down to the AFC South. Right now in the lead, we have the Houston Texans. I believe they're 6-3.
6-3. Indianapolis 5-3.
5-3. This is the division that it's almost reminiscent, like we said earlier, of the NFC East, where Cowboys and Philly and Giants all beat up on each other, and sometimes the Redskins made some noise.
It's actually the same because you only got two teams fighting for it.
Yeah,
In each
and
division,
unfortunately,
you got two teams
when you take a look at the current standings, I mean,
Versus
it's
the beginning.
it almost looks like only one team is going to come out of the South because they're going to beat each other up. Right now, Indy's in question because Jacoby Brissett's out.
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts on this? I mean, when I looked at it, I see 3 winnable games for the Houston Texans, but then they have some tough competition with Baltimore. They do have Indy coming up again. Depending on the Jacoby Brissett situation, that may play a factor. They have New England and I'm going to say it, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, they've lost some close games, and I think Tampa Bay is too easily underestimated. Primarily because they are a turnover machine, but when they play with focus, I think they can come out with a win.
I wouldn't discredit Tennessee because they got
That's right.
Mariota's out.
Mariota's out, and Tannehill's in.
Tannehill's been balling since he's been in. He's been balling he's been scoring. So I wouldn't 100% discredit.
But even with Tennessee,
keep
even with Tennessee, they're 4-5, and even with their wins, like with the Chargers and Tampa Bay, they shouldn't have won that Charger game. I'm a little disappointed. How do you not knock that in? You're on the 1 yard line.
We knew he was going to get that in there. He was going to get that in there.
I am disappointed in my Chargers team. They should have been able to nail that one in, and even that Tampa Bay game was closer than it probably should have been, and they came out with the win. Taking a look at the Tennessee Titans, I mean, they got Carolina, Kansas City before their bye week. Jacksonville's winnable, and then they got Indy, Oakland, and Houston. New Orleans and Houston again. I mean, I'm looking at the rest of their schedule, and outside of Jacksonville and maybe Indy, I think everyone else is going to give them a run for their money.
Houston, for the Houston, to Houston to possibly lose to, because
I don't see him losing to Tennessee.
Maybe. I don't.
This is towards the end of the year,
and it's toward the end of the year when people are banged up and
right.
tired.
They just
You're going through your bye week toward the end of the season,
right?
Which means you get people rested, you get people healthy.
Right.
The problem I have with it is it's not so much Tennessee, it's not so much Indiana, and it's like I see Baltimore and New England say they lose those 2 games. I think they will win the other 5.
4.
And that's it.
Yeah.
The Indy game, I think they'll win. The Denver game, they definitely will win. And Tennessee, Tampa Bay, and Tennessee again.
They would only need to split with Tennessee.
I don't see them losing less than 2 of those.
I'm not saying they lose the division.
Yeah.
I'm just saying they could possibly lose those games because you just lost Watt, and you beat up on Jacksonville. You got a bye week to get everybody rested and healthy. And one man doesn't make a team. Even JJ Watt. I'm not saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, but you lost a cornerstone in your defense, and therefore meaning people are going to start game planning for that.
And the defense is still playing.
And the teams that do that are the ones in your division.
Okay, when they had Watt on the team, when they played Jacksonville the first time, Jacksonville won. Houston won by 1 point. Watt's not on the team. You play Jacksonville again, you blow them out.
Well,
that's J.J. Watt does not make the team. He is not the whole
saying that.
defense.
What I'm saying is, the thing is the London thing,
All right.
situation. But when you go to London, that's
That
a whole
was for
different
a
game
short-
plan.
That's
yeah,
a showcase.
that's also
So,
that's a big deal too.
That's
because
coaching right there.
that's
So
over.
you have better coaching than Jacksonville. That's all.
No, I think that they were better
Because
prepared.
that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah.
I think
All
bottom
right.
line.
So then, but yeah, go ahead.
Bottom line, what you were bringing up versus what you were saying versus flop flip. Let me slow down.
Flop flip.
As the season goes on, injuries are going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just like we see,
And that's why we saw the Watt thing, but
Watt's out.
you know,
the team
it's
gotta-
next man up in the NFL.
Yes,
So I even with Watt out, I don't see Tennessee outscoring, especially if Deshaun.
Jacoby Brissett is out the game, and Deshaun Watson gets to run.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I just don't see Brian Hoyer beating him. I'm sorry, I don't.
I didn't say Indy. I said Tennessee.
yeah,
Oh.
he said Tennessee.
Oh, Tannehill.
But
Tannehill
but
too.
even with Tannehill, I have yet to see a significant win. Although they did keep a close game with Carolina. Carolina came out with they got that last score for a 30-20 game. Let's see what Tennessee can do against Kansas City before their bye. Then that may make me change my mind. But right now, I don't see much coming out of Tennessee.
Okay.
All right, and last of the AFC is the AFC West. Kansas City obviously got a stranglehold. They got a 6-3 record, dropping only to the likes of Indianapolis, Houston, and Green Bay. I did like that Charger win against Green Bay, and of course the Chicago one, which I picked them to beat Chicago because Chicago doesn't have the offense, and the defenses are pretty evenly matched. I don't know. Looking at this, Oakland and Chargers are, pretty close in ability, and of course in the record, with Oakland being 4-4, Chargers being 4-5. I don't see any one of them, except for maybe Oakland, being able to win enough to make a playoff spot. What do you think?
Shoot. If Oakland can get past, it's either gonna be the Chargers or Oakland that comes out with that wild card.
So we might.
And it's number 6.
This game tomorrow night, Thursday, NFL, the Thursday night football game is Chargers at Oakland. So
I think whoever gets that
Interesting.
win gets that
Very
win gets that
interesting.
momentum.
yeah,
And I think that would be the team that gets that number 6 wild card.
Chargers are coming off a 2-game win with Chicago and Green Bay. Oakland got that win against Detroit. So yeah, I'd have to say this next game may prove which one has the better momentum.
And then even for the Chargers, say you get past Oakland, you got Kansas City next.
Twice. We have Kansas City twice
you got
on the
Kansas
schedule.
City twice on the schedule, and
Yeah.
you got Minnesota.
And Minnesota and Oakland
And then
again.
Oakland again.
So
You are literally looking at a 4-loss,
Pretty
or
much.
a 5-loss, or I think they can do it.
even if they got lucky, and let's say they win the next 2 going into the bye week, they still have at Denver, at Jacksonville, which Jacksonville should be a winnable game. They host Minnesota. That one's kind of iffy. And then they got Oakland again. If they pull off the win in Oakland,
If they get
I'll
both
give them
Oakland
credit for
wins,
the
I think they'll
Oakland.
get the wild
But then
card.
they have Kansas City. I don't see them
Right.
pulling that. I don't see them beating Kansas City twice.
I think they can beat them once, if and only if they prepare for who's ever quarterback. Because right now, it seems like any quarterback they throw in that system is lighting everybody up. Matt Moore was coaching high school football,
Last
comes
year,
back
yeah.
in, and now he's winning football games. So I'm like,
Yeah.
that system is designed for if you're a good quarterback, you can win there.
Yeah.
So they have to prepare for who's ever quarterbacking, not who's running up and down the field. You have to prepare for them quarterbacks.
But yeah, and so that's my AFC West. Anybody else want to pipe in and anything that you guys noticed or want to discuss before we close the AFC out?
No, I'm pretty good
Still
on
kind
that.
of early.
I'm pretty good. It's
I know-
you're right.
I know,
It is
it's
still
still
early.
Those are good. I like it, but when you're talking about early times, injuries are still on the table. Those are always going to be major
I
factors.
think
Like
this
it's
is the.
been.
I don't. Actually, you have your playoff because the teams that got the majority of the wins have it for a reason. Their systems work. The ones at the bottom, they are what they are, and anybody below the Chargers right now,
Don't even have a shot.
they don't have a shot. There's no way because
The Chargers are gonna. It's an uphill battle.
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
have,
the Chargers
they
have
some
probably
tough
the
competition.
hardest
because
schedule out of the rest.
But if they pull it off, that means they deserve to be there.
Yeah.
I would love to see how they do if they can make a run and then make a run in the playoffs. But we'll definitely see how that plays out.